Okay, today I am gonna talk about my grandpa. Whew, where do I even start? My grandpa is probably the most influential person in my life, and he passed away in 2022, and I think things just got a little worse after that. Definitely, just life in general, the quality of my life, because of how much he meant to me. So when my sister was born, I was about 3.5 years old, and she was born with some she couldn't breathe, I think, and she was in an incubator for a really long time in the hospital, and my mom and dad had to take care of her, and there was just a lot going on with her, so they couldn't pay a lot of attention to me. So I would spend most of my time with my grandpa and my grandma, and I would not only just spend more time. Our house had a building, and then the old house that my grandpa built, and the new building that my dad built, and I would stay downstairs with them and even sleep downstairs. And so, yeah, so like I was never close to my mom and dad, even though now it's changed. And it was, I was like jealous of my sister, because I was like, this girl is taking all the attention, but my grandpa and grandma gave me so much attention, and they really loved me. And I was like, great. So I spent like most of my life, I think most of my childhood with them, and it shaped who I am. It shaped every bit of me, I feel like. And now that I'm growing up, I those things are coming back to me. The things that I learned, the things that I used to hear. And I feel like thank God for this. Like literally thank God that I don't forget things. I There's things that you will tell me, and I will remember it for the next 20 years. So I have visions, and I remember things that my grandpa would tell me. He he was an extremely, how do I even explain how he was? He was he was kind. He was kind in a way that was complicated. He was just not just kind following anything. He was such a divine person is all I could say. When I used to back when I was a kid, and I used to think about God, and I come from a religious family, and they were all Hindu, but they never asked me to follow anything per se. They just told me that to be a good human is to be a good religious person, is what they told me. And they just asked me to be a good human. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, I had to sneeze. That was the cut. Oh my god, okay. So I am gonna talk about 3 things, because there's like thousands of things I learned from him, and I'm just gonna talk about 3 today. And I'm gonna give you a little bit of background, and just chill. There's gonna be some drama. I don't know. Yeah, grab a coffee. It's not gonna be that long of a video, but yes, let's get ready. So the first thing is, he was somebody who always was ready to forgive. I saw him forgive people that I can still forgive for him. You know what I mean? Like, I can't forgive them for what they did to him. So this is some tea, and I'm just gonna hope that nobody, like, obviously my family members are not gonna watch this. Who's gonna watch this? And like, yeah, who cares? And also, if I'm saying something to other people, I can say it to your face, okay? So my grandpa had this guy. I mean, I mean, my dad's older brother, my uncle. And my uncle, let's not talk about him too much, but he's married, and let's not talk about his wife too, or his daughter. So they live in a different state in India, and I kid you not, this guy didn't visit my grandpa for 10 years, for a decade, for a whole decade, when my grandpa would be like sending him money, and this guy would be like, yeah, I'll come home. But he does not show up for 10 years. And you know when he does? He shows up when after my grandpa passes away. Yeah. I think that's kind of a payment for him too, because imagine you are so selfish and you don't even get to see your dad at his last moments. I think it must be sad for him too. Who knows? I mean, but he's the one to blame for the sadness. You know what I mean? So all the days he didn't show up, my grandpa never had any hard feelings ever. He always told me like that. He always said good things and just good. There was not a point where he ever talked about him not coming for 10 years. Never. Yeah, he'd be like, yeah, it'd be nice if you came, and it'd be nice if you showed up, but that's it. He never questioned it. He didn't judge people by their roles, is what I'm trying to say. You know what we do? What we do is we see our parents as parents. We see our siblings as siblings. We put everybody in a category of the relationship they have to you. But we forget that humans are just humans sometimes. Your mom is not just your mom. Your mom's also a human. And this guy, my grandpa, he had so much of forgiveness in his heart. He never had any hatred for anybody. No wonder he was so content and happy. He never blamed anybody for anything. And I think the fact that he would forgive them would make him have no burden on himself, because he was free. Forgiving somebody just does not only make them free, make you free. It doesn't make them free in a way, if I really think about it. Some people don't really care, you know. That's the first point. The second thing I would say is that this man, he was so intelligent, so smart. He would have a ledger where he would record every transaction in the house, everything. Not because he had to, because he wanted to. It was not a ledger nobody looked on. It was not for any tax purposes, nothing. He had a ledger because he wanted to have one. He would write on it every night. I would sit next to him and talk to him. And he was so busy. He did everything from yard work to building fences, and I used to help him build fences, you know. He would give me like a wire, and I would be like, he would call me Didi Bhai, I'm Bengali, and he would be like, Didi Bhai, can you pass me that wire? And I would help him build fences sometimes, and work with him in the garden when I would do my science experiments when I was a kid. And I would make a pit and cover it with leaves, and then I would show him, hey, I'm making water from the leaves, condensation, and he would help me with all that. And yeah, so my point is that I learned from him to never make anybody feel small. I don't think I got half, like a quarter of the knowledge he has. And yet he never made me feel little. He always made me feel like I was full of potential, and gave me so much confidence, so much, not just a fake confidence, a confidence that I could gain from within myself. It's a confidence that it's like I saw him treating other people that way. He made me understand to value everybody the same way. It's incredible when you see how, when you talk to a child in a way where you respect them as much as you respect them as an adult, you can have way better conversations with a child than you can have with a random person sometimes. And I have put this work. I have always done this. I talk to kids like they have more wisdom than, sometimes they do, more than CEOs sometimes. And he never forced me to believe in anything. Never, just gave me stories and told me fables and everything, his stories, his journeys, and shaped me to do the same thing. Yeah. And I think the last thing that today I'm going to talk about that I learned from him was how he could show up, and he would show up and never flake. He taught me the value of showing up, showing grace and gestures and humility, humbleness. He showed me how to do tiny things, He every day 4 p.m. He would be reading the newspaper in his room, and I would go to him. He would tell me a story, a fable, and every story would have a moral at the end, and he would tell me the moral, and then he would keep a piece of chocolate hidden in his room. It was like a little game, and he would usually keep it under his pillow, but then sometimes he would hide it, and I was a naughty kid. I was notorious, and I would go sneak into his room and sometimes find his hiding spot and steal it. And he would say, "I can't believe I have such a smart granddaughter, and Didibai is so smart," and she would find it. Yeah, he never flaked. I can't remember one time that he flaked. He never would shy away from his responsibility of the relationship, the weight of the relationship he had. He knew what he meant to me. I knew what I meant to him, and he would never shy away from that. There's a video of him when he was really sick at the end in 2021. He said that I'm the one he loved the most, and because we had such a close relationship, I also wanted to talk about how when he was a child, he was like 14, I think, and his dad renounced life, and he went on to become this monk in the north of India, in this small town in the north of India, a religious town. And he would be this monk who didn't speak, and he didn't talk at all. He was known as the Moni Baba, which translates into the silent monk. And he lived there meditating for like 16 hours a day, and then he would spend the rest of his time gathering food from the people who worshipped or shared his same values, and that's all he would eat. And my grandpa would tell me that, and I saw some letters they wrote to each other, and I just remember that he never ever said anything about his situation when his dad left. He was literally a teenager, and he had 3 siblings, 3 other brothers and sisters, and brothers and a sister, and his dad put all the responsibility on him because he was so unhappy and deeply unsatisfied with this worldly life, family life, that he needed some kind of escape. He was deeply spiritual person, and I think that spirituality was put into my grandpa, and from that to me and my dad, of course. But it just makes me think how he saw my great grandfather as a human and not just a dad. He saw him as a person who needed to go live their truth. He never had any resentment, any feelings of regret that he didn't. I mean, why would he have feelings of sadness that his dad wasn't there? He was just grateful, happy that his father was able to go and be something he wanted to be. My grandpa, he really was a great person. He was, I told you, like, if there was God, that would be, I think that he was so soft-spoken. He would never scream, never would get mad. He had so much patience. He was such a righteous man. He worked in the government office and had a good job. Always walked, he loved walking. He would never take the car, a ride, or the bus, anywhere. He would teach our maid to read and write, and he would always work towards women's education and just good things. He was just a gem of a person. When he died, my dad told me that I wasn't in the country, and my dad told me that there were so many people there because everybody loved him, and so many people just admired him, not just love. And I just think nobody loved him as much as I do. And he loved me the most too. And I miss him, but something I also remember, and I know that I had such a strong bond with him that I don't have to have him right here in front of me, because I know what he's gonna say. I know what he's like, and I know what his response is gonna be to anything I say. I talk to him all the time because I know he's here with me. He's literally in me and a part of me, and he can, like, I've lived my childhood. I'm so grateful because that can never be taken away from me. It's a part of me. Wow. Okay, so this was a good video. And yeah, I can talk about like a million things I learned from him, but this is what it is. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions or anything. And yeah, take care. And I guess if you learned something, put that into use. Nothing really matters if you just take in information and don't do anything about it. After all, it's life is not, it's like a play. You have to play in that. It's not just a reading. Okay.